Sit that right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon' shake that, 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 shit, yeah, I like that, bring that right here, sit that right there, don't go nowhere, say yeah, I like that, bring that right here, sit that right there, don't go nowhere, baby gon'.
What up, YouTube? We back with another reaction video. Today we're reacting to the streamer who took his girlfriend out of the game on stream for donations. Oh, this is a sick individual. By Dire Trip. Let's get into it.
As the digital landscape of content creation continues to evolve, so do the ways that people try to earn money. When it comes to streaming, the donation system has led to all sorts of odd personalities popping up, some of which we've talked about on this channel. Some of these streamers, though, dubbed trash streamers, have come up with increasingly scummy, violent, and criminal ways to gain attention and donations, with some even turning to manslaughter. Today we have the story of a trash vlogger living out in Russia, and if you don't know what a trash vlogger is, it's actually a pretty simple concept. The streamer will invite a few friends over, and they'll usually get really drunk, or high, or both, and start doing stupid stunts on camera in exchange for money. Most of the time, they just end up being a group of rowdy dum-dums, but on several occasions, trash vlogging has led to something more horrible. Reeflay, real name Stanislav Reshetnyak, was a Russian YouTuber/streamer born in October of 1990. He joined YouTube for the first time on November 16th, 2017, when he was 27 years old. He was a gamer who mainly did Let's Plays, having one channel for his vlogs and one for his gaming. Over time, though, he realized that he wasn't really making a whole lot of revenue on Let's Plays. By then, the genre was very oversaturated and it was becoming harder and harder to find an audience. Over time, Reeflay came to realize that he would earn much more money by simply getting drunk on streams and acting like an asshole. Whenever someone would send him a tip with a request for some kind of stunt, he realized that doing that stunt would send the audience into hysterics and lead to more and more requests, and more money. The requests got more bold and dangerous over time. It was only a matter of time before they would lead to something criminal. These stunts soon became Reeflay's so-called profession. He soon started inviting more and more friends over to help participate in these stunts. After a while, the requests came to involve bullying, pretty extreme cases of bullying. Reeflay would be asked to do all manner of horrible things to his friends on stream, and he couldn't pass up the cash. One victim of his streams was his friend, using that word lightly, 32-year-old Valentine Ganichev, known online as the Deputy. Valentine had become homeless, suffering from alcoholism and various other different mental illnesses. He got an offer to come and live in Reeflay's home, and it was an offer he couldn't pass up. Little did he know it would lead to nothing less than agony over a period of 3 entire years. It started out small, with Reeflay splashing water in his face on stream or slapping him upside the head. Things did get worse over time though, with Reeflay coming to beat him and even tricking him into drinking urine. He had slop and alcohol poured all over him numerous times, with eggs smashed on him and fish intestines slipped into his food. At one point, they even buried him up to his head in the ground. It was said that Valentine himself was receiving a bit of the money for playing this role so often, causing him to stick around for more. On some streams, Valentine would tell the sometimes worried audience that he was with his friends voluntarily, but on others he would claim that his documents had been stolen by them, even urging someone to call the police or an ambulance.
Please.
Some members of a public organization that fights against modern slavery did what they could to convince Valentine to leave, and after a while he did. However, it wasn't too long before he went back to his friends and the show started once again. Members of the organization said that he didn't feel like he was a victim of these streams and didn't see much wrong with it. A while later, Valentine got a lawyer and went to the police station, officially informing them that he had no complaints with the other streamers, saying that he was a voluntary participant. So, in the end, there wasn't much the police could do.
That's Stockholm
After 3 years, he finally left for good. It's unknown if this was because he simply couldn't stomach it anymore or for some other reason. Regardless, Reeflay now needed a new target to keep the cash flowing in. This is when he began to pick on the elderly and the disabled, basically anyone he felt that he could bully and get away with it.
Are you still only getting a job on your birthday? Then you need the new and improved Fleshy Pro 2.0. It's the automatic you-know-what machine that turns a quick one into a near mystical experience. Finally, no more begging her to slurp on the gherkin. Rejoice, men, because it is time to become your own professional salad tosser. Get ready to tweak that Twinkie. Prepare to bang that meat like it owes you money. But wait, this won't be any old choking of the chicken. Oh, no, no, no. With the Fleshy Pro, it truly will be a special date with Pamela Henderson. By combining sucking, tugging, and vibration, the Fleshy Pro replaces women faster than Leonardo DiCaprio. But don't take our word for it. Take the moaning compliments of thousands of men across the world. They swear by...
Really, nigga?
The next person who would come to be the main target of its on-stream abuse would be none other than his own girlfriend, Valentina Grigorieva, a 28-year-old woman who came to show up on his streams more and more often. While his actions against Valentina started out with mere words, mainly banter and insults, the donations started flowing in and the stunts had to get more and more outrageous.
How's he fixing his
In
pants?
one video that went viral, Reeflay pinned her to the ground and screamed in her face. As she began to cry, he began to beat her. It took a friend pulling him off of her for this stunt to stop. She then slapped him back, walked away, grabbed a pot, and smashed it into his desk while onlookers watched. Over time, the abuse got more and more intense. On one occasion, Reeflay took out a can of pepper spray, casually walked over to where Valentina was laying on the couch, and sprayed it in her face as she screamed.
What is wrong with
As she
this nigga?
rolled around on the ground in pain, Reeflay calmly went back to his computer and started reading through the chat. In September of 2020, Valentina reported to the police that Reeflay had beaten her. Shortly after, she was
Reeflay
diagnosed
shows
with a
meat.
leg
Like, bro, what the
injury.
hell?
Then again in
pants on.
October, Valentina went to the police twice to report Reeflay. She said that he had beaten her while he was drunk. Little did she know, things were only going to get much, much worse.
Oh, God.
December 2nd, 2020, a small town called Ivanovka in the Moscow area. Reeflay was streaming once again alongside both Valentina and their friend Marina. The stream started out like most did, with the trio drinking and listening to loud music. This was when one of the biggest single donations Reeflay had ever seen, one of a whole $1,000, came in. The request was simple: beat Valentina and lock her outside.
Like, what?
This was bad enough on its own, but as anyone in the world knows, Russian women...
Like, he should have been banned from the chat. Like, and why are you allowing this? What streaming service is this on? Please, someone tell me. And if it was Twitch, strike 3, my nigga.
Winters are no joke. The temperature was already well below freezing outside. Nevertheless, Reeflay complied without hesitation. He grabbed Valentina and slammed her to the ground. He then beat her, landing several blows on her head before stripping her down to her underwear. He then upped the ante by pouring cold water all over her. Reeflay and Marina grabbed her and attempted to drag her outside, but she continued to protest and even threatened them with a knife. They got the knife away from her though, and eventually succeeded in forcing her out onto the balcony, mostly naked, covered in cold water in the freezing temperatures.
Oh, what the fuck?
Valentina said, "Stasyan, I'm cold, brother. Can I go back inside?" To which he flatly responded, "No." As he usually did, Reeflay calmly returned to his computer. This was all routine at this point. He told viewers that Valentina stank, suffering
He's a
from what he
psychopath.
called an intestinal disease. He added that she was a prostitute and he could never bring himself to be with someone like that. It's important to note that there's no way to know if she actually was. There's basically no information about Valentina out there that isn't connected to Reeflay in some way, so we know very little about her background. However, being that Reeflay is how he is, it's important to take anything he said with some pretty heavy scrutiny. He continued to stream and respond to donations while Valentina was out on the balcony, banging on the doors and even screaming. Eventually, though, her screams subsided and her banging stopped. Things got quiet. After not too long, Reeflay seemed to have forgotten that she was even out there.
Oh my God.
At some point during the stream, Reeflay and Marina got into an argument and walked off screen. He then returned to the computer alone. The stream lasted for a full 2 hours, much of that taking place after he locked her outside. Eventually, he remembered that she was out there and went to go let her back in. He found her lying down on the ground, motionless. He dragged her inside, but she was completely unresponsive. She was pale and looked completely lifeless. She wasn't breathing at all. Reeflay began to slap her, saying, "My bunny, what's up with you?" He attempted CPR to no avail. He yelled to the audience, in tears, "Guys, no pulse, she's pale, she's not breathing," before begging Valentina to wake up, saying that he loved her.
Call the police.
He carried her over to the couch and covered her in a blanket. He continued to drink and stream for a little longer before he decided he would call an ambulance.
What?
He did so, but he still didn't shut the stream down. He continued to respond to the chat while he waited for them to show up. He told his viewers to inform her mother about what happened to her and to say goodbye to her. Down.
Nigga, what? Bro, she's literally unalived. On screen. On stream. Live. You telling me this nigga said, "Yeah, let me just get something to drink. Let me drink my pain away. Wait a little bit and then call the police. Ambulance." Nigga, what? Does he have a brain?
He continued to respond to the chat while he waited for them to show up. He told his viewers to inform her mother about what happened to her and to say goodbye to her. Paramedics arrived on scene, pronouncing Valentina dead on the spot. It was far too late to do anything. The police showed up as well, telling Reeflay that they would work out who was responsible for this. It wasn't until the police showed up and began talking to him that he finally shut the stream down. While it was originally assumed that Valentina had frozen to death, this would prove not to have been the case. At the hospital, it was found that she suffered from cerebral trauma, having bruising all over her face and hemorrhaging of the soft tissue. She had a subdural hematoma, which was believed to have been the result of no less than 3 hard blows to the face. That very day, Reeflay was taken in and interrogated. Reeflay admitted to the police that he did hit her several times on the head, telling them flatly that he did indeed beat her. They let him go for the night, for some reason, but took him back in the next night. Only 1 day later, YouTube completely removed Reeflay's channel, with the YouTube rep telling media outlets, "We're shocked to learn of this tragic incident. This kind of graphic content is not acceptable on YouTube. Although the original livestream did not take place on YouTube, we quickly removed re-uploads and terminated the associated account." While Reeflay was taken into a police car in handcuffs, he looked surprisingly calm and unbothered. He told reporters that he hadn't done anything. He insisted that Valentina went out onto the balcony on her own and that he simply forgot she was out there and didn't realize she hadn't come back in.
What did you forget you lost?
When asked if he regretted all of this, he responded, "What is there to regret? I didn't really do anything." He was taken into jail where he would remain until his trial.
Life him.
Reeflay told officials that Valentina was his best friend, saying, "Valya was my best friend, very kind and loyal. She was so talented. On my streams, they called her Genius. She was an actress who graduated with honors. She truly wanted a real relationship, but I couldn't be with her. You see, she was a prostitute. I didn't want a relationship with a girl like that." He then suggested that Valentina might have died from a drug overdose. While he had originally shown a bit of sympathy towards her and acted as if he had a part in her death, his story had since changed. He said that she was a prostitute, on drugs, and likely wouldn't have lived long regardless. He was adamant that he didn't use any drugs himself. However, the investigative community soon reported that a case had indeed been opened against him. They weren't buying it that he had nothing to do with her death, especially after the hospital's reports. He was highly suspected of intentionally inflicting grievous bodily harm. By April the next year, Reeflay was in court, the Remensky City Court in the Moscow region. Investigators had plenty of his past streams to use against him, where it could be clearly seen that a large number of viewers had seen the beating taking place for themselves. Not to mention, the video had been mirrored and wasn't hard to find at all. He wasn't able to deny any involvement any longer. Unsure if he was malicious or actually insane, they sent him in for a psych evaluation. It was found that he was both sane and fit to go to trial. Once the day of his trial came, news reporters filmed him getting a kiss from his mother, who still supported him regardless. His brothers and sisters attended as well, showing their support. They were all in a very solemn mood, refusing to talk to the media in any way. This was aside from one single thing that his mother said, that her son wouldn't hurt a kitten and was very kind.
Have you seen his live streams?
He was convicted on charges of intentional infliction of grievous bodily harm, dangerous to human life, committed with the use of an object used as a weapon, resulting in the death of the victim by negligence.
That is a long-ass
charge. A Russian senator named Alexei Pushkov took this opportunity to call for specific legal punishments aimed at trash streamers, pointing out the gradually escalating cruelty taking place in the shows. He wanted 6 years in jail for the worst of these streams, along with fines. He said, "This is becoming more and more widespread, so it is necessary to legislatively respond to this form of activity. Naturally, if we're talking about direct participation or complicity in murder, then the imprisonment term may be longer." It wasn't a long trial. Reeflay was charged with involuntary manslaughter, but he was only sentenced to 6 years in prison. This would be a maximum security prison, though, a penal colony. When he came out of court, escorted to his new home, he was seen in tears as he was filmed.
Tears? You only got 6
years for a body. His lawyer expressed an intention to appeal the case, saying, "We have already appealed against the arrest order, and we will continue to insist on his innocence." The heavy news coverage of this incident would lead to the government investigating trash streams even further. Shortly after Reeflay's case, another case soon came to be known. In this other case, some YouTubers had slammed a woman's head into a restaurant table on stream, and in another video, shockingly, they even buried a homeless man alive for all to see.
What the
Just before Reeflay's trial in March, a different live stream at a home in Russia showed a woman, a mother of 3, being drugged and sexually assaulted while the streamers tore apart and destroyed her apartment. They asked for more and more donations to continue the destruction, which they received. The stream wasn't even stopped by YouTube as it went on. It was later reported that the main streamer in this case had been dating the woman briefly since her divorce with her husband. Before the police got to this streamer, the woman's relatives found him first and beat him senseless.
Good job.
In another stream, a man named Andrei Yashin beat his 54-year-old mother on air for donations. The next day, though, the woman told police that nothing bad had happened and that her son had already apologized, so nothing came of it.
What?
Afterward, the two actually continued to conduct these kind of streams together. Not all of these streams led to the harm of others. Some of them ended up harming themselves, such as the case of a 60-year-old man in Russia who died after drinking 1.5 liters of vodka on stream. In February of 2021, Vyacheslav Volodin, the Speaker of Russia's lower house of parliament, voiced his disgust at these sort of streams. He wanted to introduce some kind of bill as soon as possible. Women's activists in Russia lashed out toward YouTube as well, saying, "The woman dies on air and the audience sends donations to the killer. This must stop. Such videos are calmly broadcast to the whole world, meaning something is broken. Until this is fixed, censorship is necessary." At the same time, it was noted that it's very difficult to track these streams. They can go for hours on end, sometimes half a day or more at times. 99% of the time, nothing of note happens. But then, out of nowhere, some instance of severe bullying or intense violence will take place. Given that it could be as little as 1 minute out of an 8-hour stream, the authorities would have a very hard time keeping track of them until after the fact. YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms were urged to do their best in keeping track of these streams. However, trash streams in Russia and worldwide continue to operate, such as the recent RV streams that have been increasing in popularity, with internet personalities like OnlyUseMeBlade and FuzzyTube drinking themselves under the table and/or committing crimes right on screen. Once again, thank you for watching my video. If you found it interesting, please give it a like, as it really helps me out in the algorithm.
Oh, that's the end of the video. Alright. So, I thought it was just going to be one story. It was like 3 to 8. Basically saying that trash streamers, or that's what you want to call them, I just call them idiots who stream, because there's no way anybody whose brain is actually functioning is thinking that any of the things they're doing are okay. He said he literally took his girlfriend out of the game, cried over her unalived body, and then said, "I did nothing, so I regret nothing." Well, you didn't let her back in. You didn't check on her. You could have just not put your hands on her. You could have made good content instead of abusing your girl. And she'd probably still be alive. Like, what are we doing here? Are you trying to justify it because she's a worker of her body? Supposedly, allegedly. Like, this nigga's insane. I don't know if it's just Russia, because everybody tripping. He just said FuzuTube. I mean, FuzuTube always doing FuzuTube things, I guess. That's just his new thing. Being deranged. Alright, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, y'all.
I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, ain't to live is to come. All this pain got me feeling accomplished. See these games turn me into a monster. Hey, I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, to live is to come. All this pain got me feeling accomplished. See these games turn me into a monster. I'm a cowboy, can't stop, can't stop. Hey, all that pain got me feeling jaded. Many to roll when to make it. Feel plugged into the mix, but lagging out before the update. Drop back in different times, same location.